since the other team has the upper hand or the higher ground in that situation, it can make it really hard to break out. But enough about that. We'll see how these teams actually fare in our first game of the tournament.
Yeah. Looking like a pencil comp out of the side of bad guys, and we have a leader on the side of so-called free inkers.
Well, big fan of the paintbrush coming out here as well. That's the Walzuka paintbrush, not something you see particularly often. Love to see unorthodox weapon choices like that. And then, like you said, yeah, leader coming out from the side of so-called free inkers, losing their carbon very early on. But despite that, they still had a relatively strong hold on the zone for a little bit there. They do pop the bubble from the junior right on the ramp, and that is quickly going to get missiled. Cat targeting all of the 4 of the members there, forcing them to drop down.
Yeah, and we do see the junior right there. Going to have to retreat a little bit. I'm realizing so-called free inkers is running a clueless comp, and right as I say that, 2 of them go down. There goes a third. It's only their leader alive, and bad guys are just going to push all the way into the enemy spawn and try to camp them out as long as they can just to dwindle down those points.
This is what I was talking about, where once you get into check, it's really difficult to fight this literal uphill battle out. You can see how much of this drop area is controlled by bad guys right now. Ice did pop the Zuka up there, Torch on the Wiper, doing a little bit of ledge camping with the wall, trying to get a pick here, but does get taken out. The missiles coming out again from Mighty Cat on the zone, gets a pick on Ice as well. The bubble coming out, and we do finally see the zone flip back to so-called free inkers with a 66-point penalty applied to bad guys. Sim is also, on the Stamper, trying to get a pick on the side here. Ice also doing so on Torch. Nice slick carbon pick there.
Yeah, great pincher by both those teammates right there, but we do see Ice trying to get a little bit of a start going on that leader, not going to be able to, going to have to back out. We just do see a scuffle right in mid, but the zone is going to go back into so-called free inkers' favor. Dwindling down through the 60s and all the way to the 50s. They do have the Zip Caster and Wave Breaker ready, and they're going to decide to use that wave right now.
Yeah, out comes the cooler from bad guys as Tomato tries to get a pick. Ice gets the trade down there. That's 1 down on both sides. With Horsio popping that bubble, we see the bubble go into zone, and actually we're close to our... Well, I was going to say we're getting close to our points getting even here, but bad guys is going to come in, take back that zone, start chipping away at that penalty. Ice lurking down in the drop area there, trying to get a little bit of something going on, popping the Zuka and kind of hopping around with it. Aim manages to get a pick there on the paintbrush. Hey, I guess any angle can work if it's a Zuka angle. Jordan, meanwhile, has gotten set up on the zone with the combination of that and the bubble. The hammer coming out onto the zone to try and deny that, going onto glass, not finding anything. Torch, though, able to come and take back the zone for the rest of bad guys.
It was a really good scuffle between both these teams. We see Jordan trying to getting backed up a bit, but does have that wave breaker to get some pressure, and does get a great pick right there on Tomato. And is going to have to back up because of those missiles. Bad guy still in control of the zone, dwindling down those penalty points, but I say that as mid keeps getting flipped back and forth into neutral space. But bad guys have been able to hold on so far. We do see Sim having that Zip Caster ready, locked, and loaded. We're going to have to see what so-called free inkers can do here as they finally neutral the zone again.
Losing the leader, though, and bad guys is going to come back and take advantage of that, take that. Tomato managing to eke out the pick there before Horsio popping yet another bubble. Here's that Zipcaster you were talking about. Sim looking for some sort of opportunity and not going to find what they wanted. The penalty is gone. Out comes the hammer from Torch to seal the deal. Are we going to see it? We do. The zone not quite neutralized in time as bad guys swoops in to knock out that first game.
Yeah, there were some great moments between both these teams. Really interesting comps as well. I loved seeing some leader gameplay. I haven't really seen that in a long time because of all the pencils and coolers and all that. But really good first game by bad guys. Let's see if so-called free inkers can get a bit of a comeback going in game 2.
Yeah, I sure do hope so. Of course, these sets get a little fast, especially it's just a best of 3. You don't really have a lot of room for error there, but it is, just our group's place, and since all teams go on to their respective brackets, a lot of teams can maybe, it takes a little bit to get warmed up in groups, and then some teams will have really, really good showings in brackets later on in the night.
Yeah, definitely. But talking about game 2, we have tower control on Museum. Really interesting map mode. You don't see this one that often.
Yeah, museum makes me think Rainmaker, maybe clams, but
Clams, yeah.
yeah, and God forbid, maybe zones, right? But almost never do I see museum tower. Funnily enough, it's one of those map modes that I think is not so bad. It's just uncommon. I don't like. I hold no specific grudge against this map
I
or
don't
this mode,
either.
this combination in particular. It's just something that seems to be set aside in favor of other combinations. Maybe like I guess barnacle. I feel like even I've seen umami clams more often than this, which is kind of surprising to me now that I think about it.
Yeah, like this is a map mode where it's like if I just hopped on Splatoon and I saw it paired with like an actually pretty good tower map, maybe like Hagglefish or something, I'd be like, okay, I'll play the rotation. That's a cool rotation. But you don't really see it competitively. You see a whole bunch of other tower maps, like again, Hagglefish, maybe Inkblot. Trying to go through the entire map list in this game. Even Undertale, you'll see Undertale a lot more than Museum.
Yeah.
But really, I actually sometimes do like seeing uncommon map modes in turn. Not like uncommon ones that are like still like there's still some that are like never touched this ever. Like never put Flounder in a map list, in my opinion. Just don't do it. But map modes that aren't like specifically bad.
Oh. Oh, it's a Haggle Tower. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay.
This does make
There we
so
go,
much
there
more
we
sense.
go. I was like, a little strange. Yeah, well, speaking of Haggle Tower, that's a lot more common. Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We're back in our wheelhouse here with a Hagglefish Tower. If we continue to see the E-Leader really, really excited for what that has to bring. I was going to mention that anyway. Leader is very strong on tower control, and it is through all of the levels of play. I mean, Moonlight playing it in the NA League comes to mind immediately, of course.
Yeah.
Basil is absolutely iconic with that, but that's not where we are. We're in Swimmer Sync right now, and we'll see if the leader comes back. No swaps there. And, we see a swap to the mini Splatling with the hammer, and then that is the Winter Rapid for the cooler of choice for so-called free inkers. So, no more cooler-less, they are bringing it out, but on a weapon that is not really so much of like a cooler spammer.
Yeah, but I'd say Blaster is actually very strong for tower control. You just get so much AoE damage so quickly around that tower, and it would be really useful alongside that cooler to help your teammates keep pushing forward. And it looks like the first points are going to go to so-called Freezer. It's only going to get a point and finally start to take this tower. We see Tomato pop a Zuka, not going to be able to get anything there.
Yeah, the Paintbrush as opposed to the Carbon Deco is very interesting to me because they're both kind of, those short-ish range aggressive weapons with Zuka, but they're being played relatively differently here, I feel, although we are seeing Torch and the other members of Bad Guy go forward, Tomato popping another one of those Zukas. Checkpoint 1 looks like it will fall very quickly to Bad Guys here, as most tower-controlled maps do, but the hair are missing the tower by a little bit. That second checkpoint is where things are gonna really get gnarly. Torch's hammer throw getting denied, but making up for it with a beautiful double there on the ramp, allowing for the Bad Guys to continue their push with that wipeout situation. They are going to get right up to that second checkpoint and hopefully break through here.
You see Gocho with that pencil, just putting so much pressure on there. We got 3 down again on so-called free inkers. Another, almost a delayed wipeout. We see Torch up there. Another wipeout in favor of Bad Guys. And we're just going to see Count with that throw, just try to put some more pressure. Gocha is going to go down. That's 2 down. But that's 3 down again for so-called free inkers. We see Torch, another wipeout, and it's just going to be game.
I think that is the most amount of like wipeouts to time ratio I've ever seen in a match.
Maybe.
It felt like it was just one after another.
Yeah, was that like 3 wipeouts in like 45 seconds, it felt like?
Yeah, something like that. There was a lot of aggression going on, a lot of picks going off.
Yeah, very dominant showing by Bad Guys right there. Just a whole bunch of wipeouts, just putting so much pressure on the other team, just being so locked in with each other, and probably their callouts, I'd have to assume. Just getting a very strong Game 2 win, and eventually to take this set.
Yeah, we did just watch the replay of the ending right there, and like you said, pretty much just entirely locked in. That is exactly what you want out of a tower control push. Even if you lose the person right on the tower, you stay calm, swap out another teammate on, and you just keep the push going as long as you can.